We're gonna have a good time. Really a good time.
He would say, hey, Miss Shane. He called everybody Miss Shane.
Good time.
This part of Pierce Street could be called Teachers Row, right here.
We're having a good time.
For Barbara Sori Love,
The Buchanans used to live right here.
each step through her childhood neighborhood revives memories
I ain't tired yet.
of the good times.
Good times.
That was where the hub of the African American businesses were on Clearwater Heights.
A historic, tight-knit community.
Williams Elementary was right here. First African American school built in 1946 after World War II.
Throughout the first half of the 20th century, the Clearwater Heights community prospered, despite Jim Crow's racist rule. They built homes when laws said they could not cross the color line. Schools when white ones refused to educate them. Churches when race trumped even religion. Their story is one of triumph.
We're hoping to get markers, make this part of Clearwater's fabric, reimagine Clearwater's fabric.
Because when you walk through here, there's really nothing that says this was a black community.
There's nothing. And the only thing left is Friendship Missionary Baptist Church,
Which is empty now.
which is empty. It's up for sale.
When you look down here and there's nothing, I'm sure you still have emotions, but do you feel a sadness?
Oh, absolutely.
A certain sadness black communities across the Tampa Bay area feel when their neighborhoods are erased.
My great-grandfather come here in 1905 from Stark, Florida, where he worked on the railroad.
Mac Dixon Sr. bought much of the land that became Clearwater Heights, building a foundation for generational wealth just a few decades after slavery's end.
I have two daughters, two sons, and they want to know where we come from, who are we? And the only way I can honestly answer that is I have to come back into the Heights and tell them where we came from, who we are, and what happened.
What happened to the community of Clearwater Heights?
Most of the graves are right over where those palm trees are.
In 1909, the St. Matthew's Baptist Church bought 2.5 acres of land in the Paget subdivision for a cemetery to lay the souls of Clearwater Heights to rest. But records show by the 1950s, the demands of development were knocking. Through public records, 10 Investigates got City Commission meeting minutes that show in 1940, the city wanted burials at St. Matthew's Cemetery to stop. Leaders established a new cemetery in another part of town, saying, quote, "No burials of Negroes shall be permitted in Clearwater other than on the above described property." Then, in 1954, the city began taxing the church for road improvements. A newspaper article from that year says elected leaders in Pinellas County believed road paving would help maintain housing segregation. The church was assessed more than $1,800.
Taxes got to a place where they couldn't afford them, and they had to sell.
So, in 1955, church trustees sold the land to developers for $15,000. They flipped that land for $110,000 just 2 years later. They were then hired by the city to move graves, except it never fully happened. Eventually, the city approved a department store and private businesses on the site. Do you ever get angry?
All the time. I don't do nothing wrong, but I get angry. Yeah, we get angry. And especially when nobody takes responsibility for what's been done.
Wandering soul, midnight's lonely.
It's hard to imagine that people would do that knowing that there was a grave site.
Far from the grave.
In 2019, neighbors from the old Clearwater Heights came forward with concerns about lost loved ones. And even though the city promised graves had been moved, they still had a sneaking suspicion they were still there, beneath the Frank Crum business property today.
My name's Matt Crum. I'm president of Frank Crum. At the time, when they sold the property, there was a promise made that with the sale of the property that these remains would be removed and to an appropriate or another cemetery. That never happened.
This 1998 development agreement makes that promise clear. But archaeological digs show at least 328 graves on the site, with the potential of more under the building.
Our history is messier than we'd like it to be at times. And I've learned that, unfortunately, people and organizations and institutions don't always do the right thing when there are historical wrongs, and that's disappointing.
But you want to do the right thing.
Trying to.
Frank Crum is suing the Clearwater CRA, asking the remains be moved to the location the city designated back in 1940. Today, it's the site of another erased cemetery that sits under an old school.
Won't you carry these bones to their final home?
How in the hell can you dig a foundation and not hit nothing to know that there's a graves here? Why did you continue to build? Could their spirits get out?
O'Neill Larkin Jr. remembers seeing graves in the 1980s from the North Greenwood Cemetery. 10 Investigates was the first to report back in 2019 they could still remain under the Curtis Fundamental School in a parking lot across the street.
The workers who dug this foundation, was somebody paid off to not say anything? To pour a floor, pull sidewalks, and nobody say nothing?
After our initial reporting, archaeologists found more than 50 graves on the site. A grave injustice
Wandering soul.
and a heavy price to pay for progress.
My thing since I was a child, I've been here since 1962, was to see my neighborhood come back, to be vibrant, to have businesses like it used to have.
For decades, much of West Tampa was pushed out from the city's progress. Boarded up businesses along a once thriving Main Street, a public housing development in disrepair.
I mean, we've had too much crime, and people died down in North Boulevard home, gunfire, drug dealing, and everything else.
I first met Joe Robinson in 2017.
All my life, I've fought for West Tampa residents.
He chairs a volunteer board the city oversees to make sure neighbors and stakeholders have a say in development, a critical post as the West River Master Plan moves forward.
To connect the east with the west, the downtown with the west side.
The plan calls for the city, the county, housing authority, and the school district to redevelop 120 acres of prime land along the Hillsborough River.
I'm Bob Buckhorn. I am the former mayor of Tampa from 2011 to 2019. I'm happy to see that everything that we imagined this could be is coming to fruition.
Years ago, Buckhorn told me about his grand vision for West Tampa.
It will create a development that is focused on the waterfront, that is mixed use.
One that expands the multi-million-dollar Riverwalk, connecting Julian B. Lane Park, where we sit today, to the west side of the city.
Emerald, there have been probably hundreds of millions of dollars invested in historic West Tampa as a result of this park and the transformation of North Boulevard homes. That's generational in its impact in a very, very positive way.
In 2017, the Tampa Housing Authority raised North Boulevard homes.
My name is Leroy Moore. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Tampa Housing Authority. The 670 units that we demolished has now been replaced with over 1,000 new units as of today. We still have several hundred more under construction.
The project uprooted hundreds of families. 10 Investigates got data that shows those families moved mostly to other lower income areas, farther from the city's core.
I realized when we embarked on this project that there would be dislocation and disruption in the lives of the people that lived in North Boulevard homes. But I also knew that the environment that they were living in was not acceptable.
And by law, they have the right to come back once the development is complete, although they don't always choose to return.
This new development It's making connectivity, and it's bringing people of different races, different backgrounds, different economic statuses together.
Stores and businesses are coming. New homes are already here. It's the change Robinson has worked for.
And now people want to come over here because they look, oh man, look how nice they look. Oh, they didn't know that it could be the same old raggedy building with somebody back there shooting up drugs, somebody back there prostituting, and all this here can be a nice, elegant place for a future development in business. And you have to have a vision. And we have issues with mental health over here. We have homelessness over here. So it's not just dealing with infrastructure, economics. You got to deal with the people. And if you don't deal with the people, and you don't deal with the people, it's not going to work.
What's making you so emotional right now?
Cause I've been at the bottom in my life.
And like Robinson, Al Sharif also understands that development is less about buildings and more about caring for the people in them.
We knew the shift was coming.
As part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Sharif has been on the front lines fighting to stop the Hillsborough County School District from closing Just Elementary in West Tampa along the river. Board members voted to shut the school down in 2023. The school was named for one of the fraternity's founders, Ernest E. Just.
And it's important that we keep our names and our images in the community, especially the community that we live and play in.
The district plans to rebuild down the road, but meantime,
we've already started packing up. You never know what you got until you got to move.
people like Tina Young are displaced.
We're moving out of a space that we've been in for over 30 years. How are you coming along with that?
Young is CEO of Project Link,
Mastering Smart Goal Setting,
a support services group for students and families.
Those are some other pictures that we'll wait till the last minute to tear down.
Her offices were at Just Elementary, but with the school closed and those kids displaced, she's relocating to another part of town.
Over 30 years of memories.
It's her second move in as many years. The first after 10 Investigates uncovered the district allowed the city to violate a 25-year lease agreement that let Project Link rent space next to the school. Records show the city wanted that space back to make room for a multi-million-dollar development next to West River.
What's happening with gentrification, that everybody is just scattered about, families, organizations, communities at large.
We understand that development is coming and progress is coming, but the development that's going on here in Tampa is coming at the expense of African American people.
10 Investigates found from 2011 to 2023, while Tampa's overall population grew 17%, the city lost 7% of its total Black population, something the local NAACP says is impacting power at the ballot box.
Because of the gentrification, it has depleted our vote. It is slowly depleting our voting power within the city because so many people have been pushed out of the city and gone to the county.
A dilemma of development in a city, a neighborhood, trying to keep its character in the face of constant change.
Stolen land is the terminology that really fits what happened.
Howdy guys, how y'all doing?
Hey, Mayor. How are you?
Good.
Mayor,
well, what do you think about
how
the
critical?
It's like we're losing ground. We're losing bits of history.
Where are we losing that history?
All over the Tampa Bay area. I think we're losing it here in St. Pete.
Same story, different city. How do you build the future without erasing the past?
We need to move this forward.
December 5th, 2024. St. Pete City Council approved more than $300 million in taxpayer dollars for a new baseball stadium.
Madam Chair, motion to approve agenda item F6A and B,
passes 4-3.
A drop in the bucket for a total $6.5 billion redevelopment set to transform the stadium grounds and the land around it.
Entertainment center, offices, affordable housing, everything we need.
But the price tag is about much more than money. About 40 years ago, well before the first stadium went up, the city used eminent domain to take land from those living in the gas plant district. But it wasn't just here. Under the Federal Housing Act of 1949, cities nationwide used eminent domain for so-called slum clearance, which often targeted Black communities. The Institute for Justice says between 1949 and 1973, this act alone displaced 1 million people, most of them African American.
My name is Emmanuel Sykes. I'm the pastor of Bethel Community Baptist Church in St. Petersburg. You can call it eminent domain, you can call it dilapidation, you can call it every other name to justify tearing it down and taking it. What you would not call it was a neighborhood. Make it historic.
Sykes has been critical of the new stadium plan.
The city had no right, and the people who pushed this had no right, given the history, given the campaign promises, no right to put that as part of a sweetheart deal for people that don't need money.
Deborah Figg Sanders, St. Petersburg City Council Chair.
Sanders voted yes on the deal, saying the promise of a new Black History Museum within the development is a step toward equity.
So my cell was never the raised team or the new stadium. Mine was solely about the community benefits agreement that actually benefit the Black community.
How is this a good deal for the Black community that it has suffered?
Well, I actually grew up there. It had the support of many descendants of the historic gas plant, support of groups like the NAACP, folks who understand the promises who were made. And so from the $50 million in community benefits to the new Woodson Museum, the MWBE focus, all those things are focused on honoring the promises that were made to that community.
But now, with the clock ticking for the team to reach its end of the bargain, some say justice for a community wronged hangs in the balance.
I want justice. And for me, doing right has always been right.
A similar story in Lakeland.
In the early 1880s, one of Lakeland's first settlements developed on these 35 acres. My name is Robert L. Robinson, and I was born in the Moorhead community.
African Americans came to the area to work on the railroads and built a community of homes, churches, and businesses.
We looked out for one another.
A togetherness shattered when the city took the Moorhead land through eminent domain for what is now the RP Funding Center.
The community was no longer in one place, it was scattered all over.
Today, a marker and memories are all that remain.